Hi everyone, and welcome to Organizational Leadership 4690, the capstone. This is the last writing assignment in our class, the problem-based case study essay. This is a PowerPoint with voice meant to help you get ready for doing this particular writing assignment. Remember the description of the writing assignment from within the course. You're preparing a document that's based on a case study. So you want to look at a particular problem that you have faced in your own work experience and show how it should be addressed based on the skills, knowledge, and problem-solving ability that you now have after doing the organizational leadership courses. And then the usual instructions about how to save it as an attachment within the assignment tool. When we say that you're looking at a particular situation, a particular problem, a particular example case, you want to make sure that you are using the organizational leadership theories to address that case. So, make sure that you are clear on what case you're going to discuss, be clear about the situation and how you're going to describe it, give the background information. Make sure that you're being very clear, because imagine that your reader does not know about this particular situation in any great detail. Cover the main individuals involved, the main points, the main examples. And then be sure to address how you would approach that particular case using organizational leadership reflective knowledge theories. The next thing that I would mention would be, if you really prefer not to use a case from your own experience, then you could consider using a case from another class besides the ones in ORGL. So if you've done classes, for example, in public administration, probably you've had situations that were described in that class, and then there was a theory of public administration that was applied to that case. You could also use that, but this time you'd be applying the organizational leadership reflective learning theories to that case. If that won't work for you either, you could also decide to search for cases online. There are a number of different case studies in leadership that you can find with a simple Google search. In either situation, if you're going to be using something from another class or something from an online search, make sure that you are citing the sources. So you're going to need to make sure that you know the bibliographic information of the textbook where the case came from. Make sure that you cite the website where a case came from. The other thing that I would just make sure that you would know about this is, when you're doing this kind of a case study example, it's very important that you're considering how it relates to reflective learning models. So you're going to want to make sure that you're discussing a particular individual within the case who the Keegan and Leahy model could be applied to, or who the Marino and Fiedler models could be applied to. That's what the second half of the case would deal with. In your paper, you want to make sure that the second half connects the case very clearly to the organizational leadership theories. So make sure that you've chosen a particular theory that you want to use to interpret the case. Make sure that you're explaining how reflective learning can help the individuals in the case. Include full citation. Include the works cited page. When you're looking at the works cited page, here's another example of how that should look. It's very important that you include the specific information from the reflective learning model that you want to use. One of the nice things about this paper is that it can be very personal, and it can be a good example for you to consider as you move into the next phase of your own career development. The other thing that I would mention is, remember that in those reflective learning courses that we did before, the 1 credit hour ORGL classes, in those classes we had a lot of case studies that we discussed in the discussion area of the class. We had situations that were written about, and we had situations where you were all mentioning which particular learning model could be used for those cases. The one about the Marshall Islands, you may remember that case. There was another case that we had looked at that dealt with situations involving medical ethics. Those are the kinds of cases that you want to be thinking about, only this time it can be more personal. It can come from your own life. I hope that that helps to clarify what this paper should be about. Please do feel free to contact me if you have any questions, and best wishes and good luck. Thanks so much for taking the class.